Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Thrones and Scones! It's your weekday morning podcast where we talk about Game of Thrones over breakfast. It's Tony, Hans, and Jeremy with special guest rapidly overstaying his welcome, Rob Bullock.
How's it going, guys? It's the other half of the sassy bad boy duo that is Barry and Berries, part of the
That's the one.
part of the HBO podcast universe.
Oh, you bastard! Oh, Barry and Berries. How did he find out? Who signed up for that glorious project with you, Rob?
All right, you don't even remember your own joke. You called me.
Was that our joke?
Yeah, you called me that like 3 episodes ago.
Oh.
That's what me and your other guest was, because you called us sassy bad boy duos.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's right, you were our spin-off.
Yeah, the spin-off podcast.
Oh, shit, yeah. That was a great joke. I'm happy we made it. Oh. I appreciate the cut in with that joke as well, because I think I was just about to, roll into the let's get ready to rumble thing. And that dude loves to sue people, so it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Oh, but you guys, throughout all the nonsense, throughout a show that probably didn't need to be 86 episodes in such a brief span of time, we did it, and we are here at the apex, the final, the climax, and we are about to climax all over this track.
All over this.
It's the final episode of Thrones and Scones, our recap of the entire series of Game of Thrones.
Episode by episode.
Episode by episode.
Over the next 72 hours, you will join a magical ride.
Hans, why don't you start with me here? Do you like Game of Thrones?
I thought it was pretty good.
You can find all of the links to all of our things at Thrones and Scones.
Wait, we not make a scone this episode?
Oh.
Did you put that into the scone matrix?
Didn't you hear the gears turning in his head?
Yeah.
That's what the pause is for. It's not dramatic effect. It's so that, we can run the algorithm. Oh, shit. Dude, I mean, does anybody have a scone they want to talk about today? I'm out, I think, of scones. I think I blew my scone wad.
I'm good. I had some Japanese buns that were pretty scone-like. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they were fantastic today.
What did you like as a bakery treat, as a accompaniment to a meal?
Well, since it's breakfast time, I thought I'd just have it.
Right. Oh yeah. Just hired a hibachi chef to come into your house.
I'm like, hey, what's up with some marine or some? That's what I have. It said I had a red bean curry bun, and then I had this espresso sweet butter roll.
Ooh, you brought it back.
Yeah. I've always wanted to try the red bean buns because that's the most traditional. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever had, but the espresso thing, shut up. It was like what are they called, the pumpkin rolls kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cake roll things.
Yeah. Okay. Except the cake was espresso cake. Shut up, right? Like, oh, fuck, it was crazy.
Can you make one of these for me? Since you just made it for breakfast, no big deal.
Yeah, clearly. So that was fucking worth every bit of it. And then I had some Thai iced tea with it, which was super sweet on top of that, but it was great.
Always quality.
Have you had Thai iced tea? I mean, fuck, they get it. it's tea with just straight up cream. That's fucking great.
I'm a big fan of any beverage that turns incredibly orange.
Super orange, yeah, it's great.
Why?
So, yeah, I'm all into it.
It's like the purple drink stuff. Like, it just catches you.
It does. It does.
What is that? It's purple drink. Oh, yeah. You mean grape? Nope. I mean purple.
Hans loves the old purple flavor, don't you?
Yep.
Never.
Rob, what's your favorite artificial flavor?
Artificial flavor? Ooh.
Yeah.
I would have to say probably blue raspberry.
Ooh. Solid choice.
That is
I think
great.
that's like
That is a great
that's like
call.
a kid at heart answer.
Yeah.
Like a pure cinnamon roll answer.
Yeah, totally.
What's your least favorite artificial flavor?
Strawberry.
Oh, no.
It tastes like cough syrup.
No,
really.
Yeah.
No. The
Don't like-
answer for everyone in this conversation is cotton candy.
Cotton candy?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're close. I think the answer is bubblegum.
Wait.
Bubblegum is terrible.
Isn't bubblegum already, like, is there an artificial and a natural bubblegum flavor?
Well,
was gonna
I'm
say,
not
yeah.
saying that it has to be a counterpoint to an actual natural flavor.
Oh,
I just said artificial flavoring.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
You
who?
could have said blue number 6, like instead of blue raspberry.
Is there such a thing as a blue raspberry?
Hell no.
But
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Maybe not.
I've never, but you know, it was invented years ago, and they're like, well, sir, we got raspberry and black raspberry. Too polarizing. Get a blue one.
It's good.
Anyway, I'm not sure I appreciated saying that joke. Anyway, we're here to talk about Game of Thrones as a whole. And Rob, thank you for joining us, by the way. Of course, for the people who haven't been listening to the podcast, Rob comes to us from the magical land of responsibility, where he and Tyler answer questions that people might have, because Rob is one of the most qualified positions on this planet, that of having a child in your family that is not your own, but close enough to where you might have some sort of responsibility were something terrible to happen.
Right. I'm an uncle from the
Rob's
Rob's Your
an
Uncle
uncle.
podcast, where
Oh.
I know everything. Some people might debate that, but I know everything. I'm the best person to listen to in most situations.
I mean, we'll find out what your Game of Thrones final opinions are before I, talk you up or shoot you down here.
Okay.
Listening to Rob's podcast recently, I'm catching up because I've been driving a lot recently. I've had a lot more time to crank out some podcasts, so I've been knocking the and Rob's Your Uncles down left, right, and center. And now I'm wondering, do we have Thrones and Scones like inside jokes that people who hopped in 10, 15, 20 episodes late just aren't getting? Because Rob and Tyler, for like 3 episodes straight, we're talking about this kid, Kibber. I assume a child,
Yep.
but it could have been a dog or a parrot. It could have been an adult or like a grandparent. It was very unclear, and I was just left wondering. And thankfully, I mean, us being celebrities, I had the in. I could just reach out to Rob and find the answer.
Yeah.
But we must have weird things that people just don't like.
Interestingly enough, too, I think most people, like you're saying, even Tony, I think most people think that the majority of Rob's show is Rob and Tyler giving advice, but it's actually Rob just breaking to a bunch of people that he is in fact their uncle. It's quite disturbing, actually.
It's like, whew.
It's like
a weird
Oprah
flex,
and Jerry Springer
really.
mixed together.
I had to let the secret out. It's been under wraps for a long time, but I had to let
Well,
the world know.
Thank you for being so brave, Rob.
You're welcome.
I hope that you continue your bravery, because we got to do a little bit of catching up. In our previous episode, our season 8 recap, we of course talked our full thoughts on the final season of Game of Thrones. But you're only invited round for odd seasons, and 8, last I checked, according to the inventor of math, is an even number.
Yep.
So you weren't allowed to show up. So I want to know.
Well, I have no opinion on it.
Okay, perfect. We can move
Good.
right
Moving
on.
right on.
Didn't even watch it.
remember?
Yeah, that went super smooth. Okay.
I only
Super
watch the ones that are odd numbered.
The episodes or the seasons?
Both.
Nice. You really cruised through Game of Thrones then. Well done. So, all right. So I want to your quick, brief recap thoughts. You have, I assume, heard at least some of the things that we have had to say about it.
Yeah.
And then I want to get your where you put it in the echelon of Game of Thrones as well. But Rob, you've been sending me messages occasionally when episodes drop, so I know you got things to say.
I do. I've since the episodes have come out, I've had time to think about it and really process everything as a whole. I will say I was a fan of the first 3 episodes of season 8, and the last 3 kind of fell flat for me. I think that's
Okay.
I don't know. I just things about them I didn't quite enjoy as much. Episode 7. No, sorry, episode 5.
I was like, shit, I canceled HBO too soon. I missed episode 7.
Episode 5. It had some good parts in it that, brought the entertainment, I thought. But I think that for season 8, the first 3 episodes were I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of it, and I got the chills, the tingles, when you enjoy something from those
The
ones.
tingles and the dingling.
Yeah. The tingles and the dingling.
It's like when you drive over a railroad tracks just a little too fast and on the come down.
Yep.
It just makes your day.
Gotta find those sweet railroad tracks.
So I will say that for my season rankings, I was the one who said that it's got to be better than season 7.
You did say that.
And I did not rank it higher than season 7.
Ouch. Okay. So give me your full little rundown here.
So I have it as 6, 3, 4, 7, 8, 5, 1, 2.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Close.
Sounds good.
So I'm just going by your own criteria here. Was it a bad ending?
I don't think it was a bad ending. Because it was 6 episodes and half of the episodes I didn't feel as good about. That's why I'm ranking it a little bit lower. The ending was an ending that kind of put everything in a bow, and here's your Game of Thrones. To me, that's how it kind of felt. And people can be mad, people can be happy, whatever. I'm fine with it. I don't think I have any strong emotions for it, any direction. I don't want to say that I liked it, because I could have seen some other things change and that I would have liked more, but I don't want to say that I hated it because it wasn't terrible.
Now, where do you think that Game of Thrones would fall in your pantheon of favorite shows?
Ooh.
Asking all the questions
Yeah.
that I didn't have you prepare.
Yeah.
Wait, before we get to that question or that answer, can you remind us again what was your favorite show or series prior to Game of Thrones?
Scrubs will always go down as number 1 in my book.
Great choice already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another show with just a quality final season.
Yes.
The original final season was a quality final season.
Was good. Yeah, actually was good.
I'm gonna have to put it. It's definitely Game of Thrones is something that I will remember forever, and it's now part of our culture on the same behemoth level as something like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and Harry Potter.
I was like, I swear to God, if you say Scrubs.
No, I'm not saying Scrubs. No, on a behemoth level as those things. So I would put it up in like my top 5. I don't know if I have a top 5 TV shows prepared, but
we got a good understanding, I think,
Yeah.
of where it lies. That's
Yeah.
good. Not trying to nickel and dime you here. Now, we've prepared a few questions that we'll go through and tackle some of our favorite moments, our favorite episodes, our least favorite episodes, and maybe crown some overall MVPs. I know, just hold on to the edge of your seats to see who Jeremy votes for. But
Do you want me to tell you?
I have a little surprise question that I want to drop on everybody. It is not going to involve that much thought. I mean, it will, but you're not going to have to go back and look at anything, all right? You just have to go into your own brains for a second. I want you to give me the percentage, you as a human being, all right? The percentage throner and the percentage sconer that you were going in to this podcast and where you have emerged on the other side.
What if we tell you percentages of people we think? Like Hans,
No.
I want to rate him.
Great. I love it. No. I don't know. Maybe it didn't change. Maybe it changed dramatically. Mine changed fairly dramatically. In the sense that I didn't think it would change at all.
I don't think mine changed at all. I don't think I was on enough and had enough scones to change.
So what's
You did have one.
I had
scone.
one scone.
what's your breakdown?
So I was probably like 100% going in and 99% now throner and 1% sconer.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Thought you were gonna say 99% sconer, bro.
Yeah, I know.
100 to 99. That's respectable, Rob. It's pretty close to me, actually, because I was a 99% throner going into this podcast. And I haven't lost any love for Game of Thrones. But I did gain an appreciation, especially once we started making them,
Yeah.
for some sweet scones. I will happily call myself a 75% throner.
That's so good. I think I'm in a similar boat. I don't think I was like 99% scones. Or thrones ever. I think rereading the books when going back and watching the episodes just made me really appreciate the quality of that this series really was. So I would say I was probably like maybe 80-20. But I've had some fucking amazing scones. And I have made scones since we have been doing the whole baking thing. So I would say I'm probably, because I've been still making scones, I'm going to give myself like a 70-30. Still super stoked about Game of Thrones. And I'm excited for this episode because I feel like there's so much positive things about this series that I want to make sure that we talk about. But fuck you people for muffins, okay? Go get a scone.
I want to just invite everybody to go listen to episode 0, where Jeremy proudly identified as a sconer, meaning he was at least 51% scones.
Really? I think we had to have a balance.
This
I think
backpedaling
we
here.
had to have a balance.
So you lost some scone.
You lost a bunch of scone, bro.
Yeah, bro. I think
All
I'm the
right,
only one
Hans.
who wants to talk about scones, you fucking assholes, but I mean, no big deal.
Then why don't you? You just shut up and get to the outro. I don't know.
Seriously.
We talked all about scones. You didn't even show up for that episode.
We took like 25 minutes out of an episode just to talk about one scone.
I get so much shit about that episode now. Thanks for that, guys. super cool.
Hanzu.
It's a good question. I'm trying not to stare at Jeremy's raging sconer right now. But anyway,
It's so flaky.
actually, as you guys know, I don't know if I made it clear throughout this entire series, but I'm actually a pretty big fan of scones. So I would say I was probably and I was watching Game of Thrones, but I wasn't, I was mostly just keeping up with it. Thought it was good. But I wasn't, never read the books, wasn't obsessed with it or anything. So I would say I was probably going in like, I don't know. It's hard to say even. Scones have been a part of my life longer than Game of Thrones. I'd probably have to say going in, I was like 60-40 to the scone. Okay?
I would
I would
agree with that, actually.
And now I think, mostly just because I'm very exhausted of scones, I think I've flipped to about 60-40 the other way.
Ooh.
So I think I'm
That's solid character growth.
I think you would call me a throner now.
I mean, maybe you'll jump back on the bandwagon once you move down to Tennessee, because, I mean, I think you've eaten every scone that your town supplies at this point.
Yeah.
So you just need a little fresh action.
And it's weird. Do you guys still, when you go to the store, just check the scones just in case? It's just, it's in my blood now.
Ooh. I should follow like some recipe things and just like put a Google alert in for the word scone just to see when fun recipes come up, because again, they make me feel like I can bake, because I feel like they sound like an impressive thing to create, but they're like god tier easy.
Yeah, they're way easier than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, but when you have a good one, it just makes you like, I don't know. It is like the perfect breakfast, like snack / meal. Because with coffee, I would say scones are way better than coffee bread.
Ooh, I think the best scone that I've had is definitely better than like the best coffee cake I've had.
Yes. I love
coffee cake always tastes the same.
Well, it's always the cinnamon bullshit stuff, right? Like
yeah, which is great.
Which is great.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But I still feel like, I mean, I've had some scones that are just like, fuck, this was like meant for coffee. Like, you created this, you genius. I thought the peanut butter banana one, the Hans made, I can't imagine how good that was. Ooh. Because that looked delicious with coffee.
It was
Did it? Because it wasn't that the one that looked like dead skin or something?
Oh, no, I don't mean look. Sorry, my bad. Because his picture showed...
Like in a beautiful way.
But nothing's going to beat my blueberry mold, so don't worry about that.
What was the actual best scone that y'all consumed during this episode? During this series. Let's start with Rob.
It was the Starbucks strawberry and yogurt scone.
And what would you rank it? Like number 1 out of how many?
Number 1 out of 1.
Number 1 out of 1.
Yeah,
solid. That's 100%. I think that's what that means.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
it's got a perfect score.
It's impressive.
And I didn't even like it that much.
No. As somebody who also consumed that scone,
it's not.
No,
true.
you did not.
No, you did not.
I think that my favorite scone was the pear chai scone.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
It was. A scone purist might not like it because that sucker was dense and moist, but God, it was so good.
Sounds perfect to me. Hans, you?
Oh, I'm having a hard time here. I think it's between the banana bread scone and the peanut butter scone but specifically when I did the little peanut butter and jelly.
With the jelly, yeah.
And it was good.
Which I mean, just refresh my memory. Did you want to put the jelly on it?
I did.
Or did someone convince you?
Did you, or did we tell you and you said, no, I don't want to do that? And then you did it.
And you're like, this is the best ever.
And
now it's the best.
I do appreciate it.
I will say that banana bread scone did sound very good.
It was really
I'm bummed I never made one of those.
Yeah, I was naive back then.
Not even the whiskey one.
The whiskey one was good. It would have been like 3rd place probably, but it wasn't touching these. Now I think I got to go banana bread as my number 1, only because the peanut butter one basically just tasted like a peanut butter cookie. So it was a little unfair.
So it wasn't bringing anything new to the table.
It wasn't bringing anything new, no.
Jay Boogie?
Yeah, so first and foremost, huge fan of key lime pie. So I already like super tart things. So the lemon scone with lemon curd, that was pretty much the pinnacle. And I've made it again with lemon poppy seed this time. Still delicious, still love it. Probably will make that all the time now.
Sweet. Jeremy, big
I'm
fan
not
of...
seeing a lemon scone with lemon curd on our Instagram.
It's just a lemon scone. I didn't have the lemon curd in it at the time.
Oh, okay. I got you. Trying to pull one over on the old
So
audience
he's talking about his after hours scones.
Well, there's then the edible underwear scone flavor, which happens to be lemon curd. Yeah, so that was delicious.
I want to give a shout out to everybody who sent us an email with questions for this episode. We got a nice little list here.
Oh, did we really? I couldn't remember our email password. I was wondering if anyone checked it.
I did check it. Crickets, motherfucker. So, fine. We'll ask our own questions. And you're going to be left after we sign off the air, and you're going to go, oh, but wait, I wonder what they thought about this. But you know what? It's too late.
Yeah, fuck
You're just going to
you.
send an email, and we're not going to respond. We'll probably respond. But
Someone will respond. Whoever
I'll
owns the
respond.
domain after us.
Rob will respond. We'll give Rob the password, if any of us can remember it. Oh. Rob, by the way, congratulations on coming in third place in our Deadpool, whatever.
Oh, man.
I was
Feels
pretty
right.
surprised at that because I was kind of keeping track of like my vague memory of what I said, and I felt like I was doing really bad.
Yeah, you did better than Jenna and I.
Yeah.
And isn't that what counts? All right, guys. Game of Thrones as a whole. Television show. We've already said we'd buy the box set. We've already said that we won't go back and skip episodes and skip seasons. We've already said that on our kid's 4th birthday, we will indoctrinate them into society by making them watch all of the boob scenes.
Beebs.
And now we must decide, what is the high point, the low point, and our absolute favorite bits of the Game of Thrones? Where would you guys like to start? Rob, you are the guest. Wipe your feet on the mat. Feel free to leave your shoes on so long as you didn't step in any mud.
Okay.
And come in. And please tell us, can we get you a beverage? And where would you like to start?
I think it'd be good to start with our favorite moments of the show. Let's build
Okay,
up.
just ignore the beverage thing. That's fine.
Oh, also, I will take a whiskey sour, please.
Okay, well, we don't have it. You're really putting us out now. Someone's going to have to go to the store.
Okay.
It's fucking breakfast, Rob.
Just a glass of milk, please.
Fucking 1%, 2% almond, oat, flax, goat.
Oat milk, please.
Oat milk. Oh, the most expensive of the milks. fucking the 1% over here. Oh. All right. You did have one good thing there, though, starting with our favorite moments. I've asked everybody to prepare their top 5 favorite moments of Game of Thrones as a whole. And here's my thought process. If anybody has anything different, let me know. I figured we'd just start with somebody at their number 5 moment, and they'd say what it is. We'd talk about that moment a little bit, and then when the next person goes, if they're going to say something that has already been done, they just say, oh, yeah, that was my moment. We already talked about it. That way we don't have to get all confused where, Hans, your first moment is, oh, I really loved when Theon's dick got cut off. And then I'm like, oh, that was my number 3. We don't have to do that. We just talk about it. And then when I get to number 3, I said, oh, yeah, Theon's dick. See the aforementioned conversation.
Cool.
I mean, I'm all about efficiency here.
Yeah, we got a plan this time.
Plan of attack. I can't wait to absolutely throw it out the window. So, Rob, I invite you to tell me your 5th favorite moment
My 5th
of Game of Thrones.
favorite moment. So this moment is in season 1.
Ooh.
It is the moment where I realized that this show is not just knights and stuff like that. Like they had a little bit of fantasy to it. And it is the moment when Daenerys emerges from the flames with her baby dragons.
A beautiful...
Beebs.
a boobs-tiful.
A beebs-tiful moment. Hey, what's up with those beebs?
Let's get some
I just
boobs.
remember this scene being like, because when I like watching like the medieval fantasy stuff like that, I do like to see like magic and like the cool creatures and stuff like that. So before we saw a little bit of the direwolves in episode 1, but I mean you didn't know what they were going to be quite at the beginning because they were just puppies. But I don't know. I thought that it was nice. I was like, oh, now I can see this show does have some magic, does have some of these creatures in it. So that's cool. I like this. I remember it being a moment that made me keep watching.
It was a great moment. It's I think when we were at that episode, obviously everyone remembers that moment, but we kind of forgot that episode 10 happened.
Yeah.
I think in all of our heads, Ned died in episode 10.
Yeah.
And we're like, wait, what happens after this? And then Danny's thing happened. We're like, oh yeah, duh. This kind of thing that sets up everything else.
Yeah.
She totally owned that episode in a way that just made me think, oh, what else even happens in it? Because who cares?
Right.
Totally great moment. And you're right. We didn't know what the direwolves were going to become yet. A big old letdown.
Well, so watching season 1 then, like, I think if you binge watch season 1, it actually kind of takes away that episode, right? Because it's such a traumatic episode 9 that while that's cool, like you don't appreciate it as much as when you watch it and you had that week gap, right? Where you were able to kind of like refocus and kind of like settle. And then I think to get that, because I just remember thinking like boobs and dragons, but still I feel like episode 9 was such an encompassing like change in the wind for the show that I really feel like that one scene, yeah, there's cool little dragons, but it didn't have that effect on me as well, in the way Rob is saying.
I wonder if that would be I never watched episode 1 like waiting for episodes because I just kind of jumped in right before season 3, so I never had to do that. It's an interesting point.
Yeah. I would say it had a little bit of the opposite effect for me though, because I did it the same way. I didn't wait for the next episode, but I think that the pile on of here's Ned's death, and then now we see Daenerys getting dragons like one right after another. I was just like, oh, like because they get rid of the main character that we thought was going to be the main character because it was a named known actor. And then
Psych.
and then we get this introduction to someone who, like, we get this introduction to Daenerys being a big player in the show, I think, right at the end of season 1.
Yeah, because she's kind of been. I mean, she had her little up moment, but with the death of her husband and stuff. I mean, yeah. Those last 2 episodes, she was looking pretty rough.
Yeah,
She was, yeah.
Yeah, and she went on to ride that emotional up and down roller coaster all the way through Karth. But that moment for sure was great. Jeremy, your 5th favorite moment of Game of Thrones?
It was Ned's death. That's why I was kind of making that connection. That scene, that episode, I feel like is one of those things that makes you get that this show is going to take you on an emotional ride. It is not going to be just an action-packed thing. It's going to have like you're gonna feel an immense amount of sadness, and you're gonna lose people that you think are untouchable. And I think that season 1 sets that tone very quickly, especially with the loss of Ned. And so that was very profound to me.
It's I think as much of a shift in tone where, Daenerys introducing the fantasy elements of the show. Ned's death really established the fact that this is also not the show you think it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This ain't your dad's HBO fantasy drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in your grandma's day, all the good guys survived and everything. So, yeah, very different. Huge moment for sure.
Huge.
I still miss him. Still miss you. Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Man, my boy Blue.
My boy Blue. Ooh, Hans, what about you, man? Number 5?
Yeah. Number 5 was for me. I had actually wrote this list a few times and rewrote it a couple times. And it's funny, the very first time I wrote it, I actually had the Ned losing his head as 5. But as I thought about it more, I had to move that one down to what would be my number 6, I guess. I'm breaking the rules.
Right. I did the same.
So it's an honorable. I have honorable mentions we can talk about at the end, but my number 5 is the. They overuse it a little bit as the series goes on, but my number 5 is the first time we get the "King in the North" chant with Rob. Yeah.
What a great vote there. I didn't even consider that.
That's good.
That's good.
It's a heart-stirring moment. It's got all the emotion where you're talking about like, oh, this means some pretty scary stuff, but like it's so awesome, and like Catelyn's there and she doesn't suck necessarily.
So you like the King of the North for Rob more than the King of the North for Jon?
I do.
Okay.
I think it's just because it's the first time you get it.
Right.
I think John's is cool too. They're all good, but I mean, it's just it loses just a bit for me, just because we've seen it already. But
true.
I think my bigger moment for Jon in that sort of realm, like his King in the North thing was cool, but I think it was brought down a little bit by that weird sort of forced in tension with Sansa.
Right.
I think my more favorite moment for him was with Tormund, when Tormund's kind of talking him up to the wildlings. Saying like he took a knife in the heart for his people. He killed man's like he's kind of going through and laying shit out. I think I like a lot of those moments actually when other people are doing the talking for Jon. Maybe Jon's not so good at the talking. No offense,
well,
buddy.
He knows nothing.
He knows nothing. So my number 5 moment, and I honestly wanted to put it a little bit higher, but there's so many good things, I almost couldn't even justify wedging it into my top 5.
Shit, okay.
But I did, because I love the moment, and it took a character that I never thought I would like and made him one of my favorite characters overnight. And that is the scene where Jaime is talking to Brienne in the bath.
Ooh.
Great scene.
Back in season 3.
Oh my God, you read my mind.
Great scene.
Great
Great.
scene. It's again, I think we talked when it happened. It would have been a little bit more powerful if he hadn't kind of had half that conversation with Catelyn, but he still did a great thing throughout the whole show. I think that's Nikolai's best scene. He's great in it. She's great in it. It's emotional. It happens. It brings them closer together. It doesn't alleviate conflict that exists, but it works through it. It's like exactly what I want from the quieter portions of this show. Cool.
Yeah. No, I think we all agree.
Yeah, so that was my number 4. So that's why.
Ooh,
that
perfect
Yeah,
transition.
so that. And I'll just continue the point on that scene. What I found to be the Kingslayer story. We finally, you want to hate Jeremey a lot for all of the things he does for love, specifically for Cersei. But then you start to get that he took his role, he took the whole Kingsguard thing very, very like seriously and really was looking out for the realm, and that's the time he makes that point. He chose the realm over his family, right?
Yeah.
And because he was like, look, don't let them in. This is going to go bad. And that's the first time I think you get a glimpse of where he sees the cracks in the whole for the country, for family kind of thing. Which is why his later decisions just pissed me the fuck off. But still, at that point in that scene, that is one of the best moments in the show. It is so good. Brienne and Jeremey have gone through this epic road trip, which has made you kind of fall in love with these characters. And I always argued that it was going to be romantic stupidly, and then the show did it, and I was pissed off about it. But it was cool. It was cool. What about you, Hans? Or wait, no, Rob, 4. What do you got?
Just real quick, by the way, saying I didn't have enough space in my number 5, it's obviously because I had to put as my number 1 to jump ahead, Jeremey raping his sister a season later.
Super good. Super good.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
My number 4 moment would have to be the fight between the Viper and the Mountain.
Oh, shit, yeah. One of the best fight scenes.
Yeah. It was, it was great. Like, the choreography between the fighting, it was good. The intensity of like the Viper, whatever, I can't even think of his name now, but
Oberyn Martell.
Oberyn, yeah, his intensity of like constantly repeating, you murdered, you raped, and that was just, I don't know, it was a great fight scene.
We
get
talked
a lot of emotion from it.
We've tried to find like the episode that you would show people. Like, oh, what's the episode that you would show someone to try to get them into Game of Thrones? And the whole first part of it, the whole episode's great, but the whole first part of it's too political and it's too in the weeds. You could never show somebody that episode, but I have shown people that scene to try and tell them what Game of Thrones is about. Mm-hmm. It's like it's probably the scene in the show I've watched the most.
Yeah, it's really good.
Phenomenal. One of my favorite scenes as well.
Phenom anal.
All right.
So my thing with that scene is it kind of has that Princess Bride thing kind of going on.
It does.
Yeah.
Where
my name is Oberyn Martell. You killed my sister.
Yeah. Like it felt like a straight like ripoff, but in a cool way because you were like, oh yeah, you're gonna get revenge. Like, this show doesn't give revenge very well. Actually, ends up every time you go for revenge, doing more damage to your family.
Yeah.
But I thought, oh yeah, this is totally gonna work. And then Game of Thrones does what Game of Thrones does. It fucks you. It fucks you hard in ways that you're like, no me gusta. And it's like, I don't speak Spanish, but I speak fuck you.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's also one of the scenes that I thought translated incredibly well from the books to the show, which when I read it, I never thought it would. They did a great job.
Yeah, it was great. Just general fight scene. Probably easily the best fight scene for me as well.
Yeah, so good. And what a twist too. So like if you didn't read the books, or even when you read the books the first time, it was just like there was kind of a multifaceted component to that too, because first of all, Oberyn just gets his head crushed when you're not expecting it, which was a oh shit moment, and then it kind of like it settles in for a second, and then you go, oh shit, what's gonna happen to Tyrion now?
Yeah.
Oh, who would have ever thought that someone's skull exploding would be so nuanced? Oh, Hanzu.
Yeah, so mine might be a little controversial here for number 4. Pulling, I don't know if anyone else is gonna have this, but I'm pulling from season 8.
Oh,
for my number 4. I know.
My number 4 is as well. I wonder if we're about to touch sweet tips.
I don't know. My number 4 is the beginning of the Long Night episode. When they light the Dothraki things on fire. And I don't even think that there's necessarily a specific moment in all of this that I liked more than anything. But just that entire scene of the Dothraki, I don't even know what those sword things are called, technically, but the Araks getting lit on fire, to then kind of transition, like to not being able to see the dead, it being kind of hazy and foggy and just so dark. Yeah. And then I think you just didn't know what was going to happen. It was so exciting, and I think the tone of it was really, really cool. And then, of course, when they charge for whatever reason they charge, I'm not judging that part. I'm looking past. As they just get flicker out, it's just so cool.
Yeah, even knowing that the strategy is flawed, and even knowing that they all somehow
survived,
come back.
Yeah.
It's still such a badass moment.
It was just so cool. And I think, again, like it was a really good way to start off that episode. Because I was like you said, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. The more I think about that episode, the more I like it.
Yeah. I think you liked it too because it was the first time you actually saw anything in the episode. The rest of it was so dark.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You provided so many nice little flashlights for us. Ooh. My number 4 is also from season 8, episode 3, The Long Night. And internet haters beware. It's Arya killing the Night King.
Bum, bum, bum.
You hear that crickets? You hear the crickets? That's like, maybe you should get that.
I jumped for joy at this moment. I have not ever reacted like such a person who was not alone. Was in mixed company with people who were just trying to watch the show, and I made a fool and an ass out of myself, and it was great. And I think all of the scenes going back when you're looking at like the foreshadowing leading to this moment, that goes back a lot longer than anyone gives it credit for, I think is really cool. I think this is one of those things that they have been building that pretty much nobody caught. It wasn't on any of our radar. I had never seen this theory going around, but when you go back and you fill it in, it works so well. And I love this moment. And for the bits leading up to it that they could have done better, the actual and the bits after it that they could have done better, the actual kill and blow itself, gotta go on my list.
So cool. You mentioned about, just because I wasn't part of the conversation for episode 3, you mentioned that there was some foreshadowing to her killing him. Can you maybe explain that to me? Because I'm not getting it.
Rob? Yes, I can.
Do you have a whiteboard?
Yes, I can. So, the foreshadowing, and this is just all things that I have pulled up or that they explained, nothing that I'm like personally connecting the dots with. People smarter than me and more observant than me. So Bran gave Arya the dagger in the exact place that this happened.
Okay.
Which is kind of fucking cool.
Probably the coolest part of it, actually.
Yeah, but the coolest and longest stretching back is the whole Melisandre thing, going back to whatever season with the eyes. I see eyes are going to shut forever, green eyes, brown eyes, blue eyes.
Right.
Was a very cool little moment there. And then just as far as lead up go, referring more to the any sort of prophecy that may exist. I don't think any Arya's name really gets thrown around in that at all. So even though we did establish it wasn't her who was filling out the prince who was promised prophecy, but still the Lord of Light thing.
Okay. All right.
And I only mean that to be, I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, in season 1, episode 1, like there's this. But there are so many people that are just like, they just wanted to do something people wouldn't expect. And I call horseshit on that.
No, I agree that those things kind of match up. I mean, giving a knife in a certain place could be a coincidence, and they did say multiple different color eyes, so...
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying... Right. I'm not saying, like, in retrospect, it's like, oh, how would we not notice it?
Right.
I'm just saying, I think from a writing standpoint, they knew it for a long time, and they were able to keep it under wraps.
They were able to hide it
they
with
didn't
vagueness.
blow their wad. Yeah. Like the frickin' Aegon Targaryen thing. Not that that had any chance of being, like, that's super obvious in the books, too. Like, you just can't get away from that.
I literally didn't know the Aegon Targaryen thing until I heard someone tell me about a controversy, or like the secret about it. Like I did not catch on to Jon being a Targaryen. Really, 100%. Someone had to tell me.
Like when in the series was that though?
Before season 6, maybe before season 7, even. I don't know. Yeah, but it was late. It was late in the show that I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. That's cool. Like,
well, when he's sitting here judging me for my opinions, ladies and gentlemen, just know that this is the man that you're.
I wasn't judging you for your opinions.
Sure you weren't. Sure you weren't. I could see it in your face, Rob. Can't see your face, but.
That's right.
Did everyone do their number 4?
Hans?
Yep.
Yeah, I did mine.
Okay.
Jeremy. Wait, who just started?
Jeremy started.
Jeremy
Did I
started.
start? All right.
Okay, Hans. Number 3?
Yeah, it's my number 3. I'm going to Daenerys for this one.
Ooh.
Okay.
Interesting.
I don't remember what episode this is from, actually, the specific episode number. But I friggin' love the moment when Daenerys is just taking all that shit from that dude. I don't know who the dude is anymore.
Master Kresnets.
Yeah. And he and then she reveals that she's understood what he was saying this whole time. Speaks Valyrian.
Oh, right.
Fucks his shit up. Gets the Unsullied. It's fucking badass.
Pyrotechnics in the background as she dramatically poses, looking up to the sky. This is the I think that Emilia Clarke is very attractive, but I'd never have had like a super hot crush on Emilia Clarke. But when she's speaking Valyrian, I don't know, man. Language of love or something. Ooh, it's good. That was 100% also my number 3 moment of the show.
Nice.
It's probably the second most watched scene I have, just because of that. Yeah, that whole reveal, and it's the one time that she says Dracarys, not like a white lady, which is Dracari, and just melts that dude. And then it's got her, and the whole army's like just marching. She drops that whip like a boss in slow motion. All great. All of it's great. Robbie B?
Okay.
Robbie?
My number 3. You guys are going to hate me.
Oh, God. If you say season 8...
It's the introduction of Euron Greyjoy.
It's not the introduction of Euron Greyjoy,
no.
but it is the moment when Euron Greyjoy attacks Yara's ship and comes down on that little plank holding the axe.
Oh, my God. Can we skip this? Can we just move on? We invited
joking,
him on
right?
this episode.
It's your third favorite moment of all of Game of Thrones?
This is
that is
bullshit.
the reason I like Euron Greyjoy, that moment.
Oh,
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
cool.
I'm
It's,
judging.
That is fine. You can judge.
Euron Greyjoy is such a piece of shit. Like he's, there's like nothing positive to him at all. He's
I mean,
like
I
a
guess
porn
hold on,
star for Christ's sake.
if I was going to give him a good scene, it would be that.
Yeah.
Like, it is a good scene.
He's like blood crazed and like just going crazy, and it's like, it's a cool scene.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Is it the third best scene of the
For
series?
me, it is.
I was not expecting Euron Greyjoy to make the cut. That's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
Oh,
I feel like my number 4 was way less controversial now.
I think I literally can say anything that's going to be better.
Well, what are you gonna put in there?
All right, so
because now I look forward to you disproving that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. So
was it when John lost his arms?
It was not when John lost his arms. Fuck you, okay? It's my third best scene moment is actually with the Night King, and it's Hardhome, and it's that chill, it's that peaceful quiet on the water, the slow raising of the hands. Fucking let's go. That scene, Game of Thrones. Like, that is exactly why we have waited so much for this epic battle coming, you know? And that gets everyone going. Fucking great. Perfect.
You know, they say that after the first 2 seasons, The Walking Dead wasn't a good show. It just had very good or very exciting or very cliffhangy season finales. I think that Game of Thrones does the same thing on an episodic level, where when they have a bad show, they still find a way to
save it,
to end that episode in a great way.
Save it in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. And I don't think Hard Home was a bad episode. I think it was a great episode. But it turned into like kind of this quiet political move, and it ended in one of the most epic moments of the show for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the choice there, like the as you're saying, just quiet, still.
Fuck.
Oh.
You know, like, and I think about that scene because you were just mentioning of something to show people that's going to get them into Game of Thrones. You watch that episode, I mean, you just get the sense of just overwhelming power is coming. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be like, you know, magical. It just has to be fucking overwhelming and dead. And you're just like, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. I don't give that episode enough credit in general. That moment is great when they're just flying off the cliff.
Yeah.
Is great. And I think, I mean, we've already talked Mountain and Viper, but I think one of my other favorite one-on-one fights is Jon and that White Walker.
Yeah.
When he catches the sword and the look on that dude's face. Oh, it's so good.
The
solid choice.
The Hardhome, that episode, that ending, that I had a tough time picking a White Walker moment. I knew I wanted to pick a White Walker moment for my top 5. Mm-hmm. That one just slipped out over the one that I did choose. But I mean, that is definitely one of my honorable mentions. It's like slipping into the 6 or something like that.
Yeah, it's one of mine too. It's great.
So good. Totally agree. Whew. All right, Tony.
Number 2.
Before we jump into number 2, because we're kind of in the middle here, let me just say, it was freaking hard to pick a top 5 moments.
Yes.
I'm 100% when I wake up, I will be unconfident.
Yeah.
Actually, as Rob was going through Euron, I was like, even the good villains didn't make a moment on my list. And then I'm going through actual moments that I did not put anywhere near the list. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, oh, it's... No, there's so much.
Yeah, and
so much.
I've been thinking the same thing. I'm like, how are these? I'm thinking through main characters, and I'm like, how has that main character not made a single moment on my list? I'm sure if I thought about it more, I'd come up with just too many. But anyway,
yeah. Ooh, okay. My number 2, and I can't say this subtly and quietly. I'm sorry. It's like Clegane Bowl. You just have to scream it. It's not Clegane Bowl. Loot Train! A moment out of nowhere when we going back and forth with this is, albeit one of the more frustrating parts of the series where teleportation gets involved, and we're just kind of flying around constantly and nobody knows where anybody else is. But it leads to a couple moments that are really great. One of them being Cersei doing the whole Casterly Rock switcheroo, which is awesome. But then Dany's rebuttal, where she just brings the Dothraki and Drogon to meet the Lannister army outside of King's Landing and just fucking wrecks them. This is, I mean, the Battle of the Bastards is a war on screen that is just crazy. But this is like a different element of that. It's the first time we're really seeing the severity of what happens when people get burned by dragonfire. Like, this is a gruesome, dark, very foreshadowing episode. And Daenerys just going through melting people, and you're seeing people melt and turn to ash, and you're seeing Jaime struggle to kind of deal with this. You're seeing the Dothraki just lop heads off left and right. You see Bronn and all of his tricks not working, and it's just so cool. So it was such a surprise. And the entrance of the scene, when you just see the hill coming, and then they just like, all right, they're like setting up for the charge. They're like, we got this. And then you just hear the dragon, and it swoops out of nowhere, and they just go fucking nuts. Great moment.
I think that's one of the first moments in a show, other than like, I guess he was captured in Dorne, but it's one of the first moments in the show where you see Bronn actually not doing a good job at the things that he's asked to do.
Yeah. He did shoot Drogon.
He still did a good job, but like usually when Bronn was set to do a task, he completed it. Like they set his character up to be that, like to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He also shot that Dothraki dude like point blank.
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
Which was pretty cool.
They gave him
Yeah.
they gave him some cool moments, but like he always seemed like he was a step ahead of everything, and this one caught him off guard.
Yeah. At least they kind of really dug deep to that emotional payoff and finished his arc out nicely.
Yeah, that was really
I'm
good.
sure.
He got he really got the ending he deserved.
Jeremy?
I don't remember who was going
I
next.
think it's Jeremy's number 2.
Sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Jaquan.
this is tough for me because these are like saying it's 2 and 1 is, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna go a little common tongue. I'm gonna go the Red Wedding.
Solid choice.
The Red Wedding easily could be number 1 because compared to the book, I will give the show credit for nailing something in an emotional way that was so much better than compared in the book. For me, this was Game of Thrones again, just really, really laying down that you think you know what we're going to do. You have no idea what we're going to do to you. And removing so many characters that no one, I think, expected to die.
Yeah.
And then rubs it in your face. Like, they really rub it in your face over the next episode or two with the direwolf head. I mean, this show, like, loves to hate you in a way. And that was the hardest thing to watch again for me. So we were rewatching them preparing for this. It sucked. It sucked again, and that's powerful to know what's coming in a way that we've already seen it and read it, and just know that it's still going to absolutely suck. And it again, like seeing Rob. It's funny because I think Rob's death is probably the least powerful part of that for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't really care about Rob that much. Like, I didn't care about about Rob Stark as much as I cared about maybe Catelyn.
You're on Greyjoy.
Catelyn.
Yeah, exactly. We already
And
got
I feel like
your
I
opinion.
I feel like that Talisi more than
Talisa. Jeremy's got to you.
what is her name?
Talisa.
Talisa.
Yeah, I mean her pregnant getting stabbed. If you have a soul that like sends chills, like that's just it's
Yeah.
And then Catelyn, you see the decision she's making leading to this moment. I just don't think you think one of them's gonna get out, right? You think one of them is gonna walk away, and the fact that it's just a slaughter. It's just a slaughter. And then for Arya to watch that or to be there and realize that's happening, yeah, I don't know. It's powerful.
talking about it being hard to watch. I don't remember what he was doing press for at the time, but it was about a year ago. There was a video with Richard Madden, Rob Stark, going around where he was doing some interview, and they had him watch the Red Wedding, and like he reacted to it, and he was saying, "I haven't watched this." And they said, like, since it came out, and he said, "No, we didn't watch it when it came out." Like he said, me, Michelle, and I don't know Talisa's actress's name. He's like, it was too intense to film. None of us watched the actual final cut of it.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts. I will just say, I didn't put this on my list.
Oof.
It's in my honorable mentions only because
God.
if I hadn't read the books, it would be my number one scene.
Yeah.
Because that moment, it's the best. I don't know about best, but it's the most engrossed I've ever been in a chapter of a book. It broke my heart. It rocked my world. I don't think I even remember how into Rob Stark I was. Like, Rob Stark was my boy, and I was like, they already killed his dad. This is a safe guy to root for. Like,
Yeah. He's gonna be fine.
he's the young wolf, man. And
it's
it
honorable
desensitized
mention?
me so much for the show
Oh no.
that when I watched in the show, it's still crazy intense, and they do the whole thing because Rob's wife Jane in the books, but Rob's wife's not at the wedding, nor is she
Exactly.
pregnant.
Yeah.
So her getting stabbed in the baby is a fresh take on this, and it starts out with that. So it's still a crazy freaking moment. It is still hard to watch, and it's so good, and it is done very well on screen. I didn't add it to my list. Although now I'm really thinking I probably should have put it over Arya killing the Night King, but we lay in our beds that we make.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Rob saying, not a big fan of Rob Stark, all this stuff. Rob was probably inconsolable when Euron Greyjoy died.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
good death for Euron Greyjoy.
I did too. I can't wait to hear that as your number one when you talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah. God.
Well,
Speaking
my
of,
number 2
or your number two.
has to do with the Red Wedding as well, but it is the revenge for the Red Wedding from Arya Stark.
Oh fuck! Yeah.
Killing the phrase. That moment was one of the best in the show, in my opinion. Like,
Now, which one?
the second one, the beginning of season 7,
Okay,
I think
Season
that was.
7,
Yeah. The end of season 6, it was good, but the beginning of season 7, where we see Walder Frey, like, right away, and we're just like, wait, what the fuck? We kind of knew, but like,
Yeah.
it still kind of fucked with us because it said previously on Game of Thrones, here's Walder Frey's death, and then it opens up with Walder Frey. But no, that was one of the best like season openings of the entire show, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say it was even one of those rare instances where it happened before the intro.
Did it?
I think so. I think that happened, and then I think I made a note about it even. Let me go back and look.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. That's how, I think it just opened with that.
And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just looking back through my notes, and it's just trying to scan for that part. And 2 episodes later, I just happened to come across Euron, a finger in the bum, Greyjoy. Everybody's number one, I'm sure. Hans, what's your number 2?
Mountain versus Viper.
Oh yeah. Good call.
Nice.
Greatest fight in the show.
So, Rob, can you take it home for us?
My number 1, I'm cheating and I put two things at number 1.
Damn it.
But one of
Fuck.
them is small. One of them is it's not a small thing, but it's a short part of the episode. First one is John coming back to life.
Ooh.
But
Okay.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
the main number 1 is hold the door and Bran's vision of how Hodor became Hodor, and like that whole scene is very intense. It made you feel so many things. I cried during that episode the first time I saw it. Legitimately cried.
Yeah. This is pissing me off. This is what you give me, which is completely good. And then you fucking had Euron Greyjoy in this shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing to me? Do you hate me?
Forgot about Hodor too.
That, I would agree. That is one of those emotional, like, oh God, like, and Hodor, come on. Does anyone care more about a character that has essentially one line the entire show, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this character has nothing, and yet he becomes this fucking pinnacle to us in a way.
Yeah.
Super good writing, by the way. Super good writing.
Like the emotions that his death bring, and it's not even like on the lines or like the character of Hodor, because Hodor's character, we don't really know anything about him until that episode, really.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And you just learn it right away, and you've got to love Hodor because, you know, he's a caregiver. He takes care of Bronn, he takes care of Rickon, you know, he takes care of all Jojen and Mira, and like he's with them that whole time until, you know, and even though he only says that one word, he's like, he's kind of like a guardian to the younger characters of those.
Yeah.
Also, giant dog.
Also, giant dong.
Huge dick.
Huge.
It's such a. Oh, I'm very glad that our lists are very different, because not only did I forget about a lot of these moments when I was trying to come up with this list, but it's good that we can give these things love, and people can't be like, what? You forgot about the best part.
Yeah, it's crazy to me how many, and I feel like I thought about this for a long time, and I didn't even think about that moment.
Yeah.
Which is
and
a
it's
great
so good.
moment. Yeah, it's not, it could have very easily been in my top 5.
Jeremey, I think.
Yeah, I'm a sellout. I'm just gonna tell you that now. I'm a sellout. I hate myself for this pick, but I know why I picked it, because it was perfect. And I will, of course, make sure I make a clear statement to this. Dany dying, Jon killing Dany. That moment is the pinnacle of the show. It always will be. I don't care if you agree with the season 8. I don't care if you thought her death was cheesy but up until that moment, when Jon stabs her, there is no words. She dies. That pit. We will not continue from that point. Drogon coming up. No, fuck that shit. Dany dying by Jon in a loving, eminent, or kind of like, it's so good, right? I love that she says nothing, because if she would have said any fucking word, the show should have been redone, right? Like, because it's that powerful. So it hands off. I mean, that's the point. That's the show right there. Good job.
I put it in my honorable mentions only because I figured I would get crucified if I threw anything from the finale in.
I know, and that's why I'm telling you, I'm a sellout. I feel, but
no, that was a good.
I wholeheartly agree.
That was a good moment. Yeah.
I don't know how you argue it's not number one, because this show is literally. It's Dany. It's Dany becoming something we.
I will argue it's not number one because it wasn't the end of the show.
It's the end of the show to me.
I would have liked the whole series to end after her death. I would have been fine not knowing all the other stuff.
Yeah. I think a lot of us would.
It's a little. I don't think. HBO's money grubbing ass would make it 2 years before they announced a sequel that would have told us everything anyway.
True.
It's too, but I agree. I take solace in the fact that it's kind of like, it's not the end of the show, but it's the end of the Game of Thrones.
Right.
Yeah. That's kind of the point.
Now, Rob, you were not part of this discussion, and it seems like Jeremy hasn't moved an inch. What did you think about Drogon?
Fuck you for bringing that up, though. Who is right? That's right.
Drogon coming up to the throne.
Hey, let's have some fan service.
Yeah, I will say that I like that it shows that there's a connection between Dany and Drogon that goes deeper than it's just this is my pet and stuff like that. The stuff about melting the throne, I felt like it was kind of forced into there. I don't know why. Like, I can understand that Drogon not wanting to kill Jon because they're kind of like family, because that would be his cousin. Drogon's technically Jon's cousin.
They would be first cousins, I believe.
Yeah. But I don't know. The melting of the throne didn't really make sense to me. Like, I felt like they were trying to make some sort of symbolic thing with the melting of the throne. They could have just had it get destroyed. I feel like if they would have melted the throne in the episode before, when Drogon's just flying around, just attacking the throne room, that would have been better.
That doesn't fit with the vision, Rob.
I don't know. I don't care. I mean, they did what they're going to do. I think that it's adding or taking away from anything. For me personally, no. Because, like I said, I'm ambivalent about the very end of the show.
Fair enough. Good choice, Jeremy. I didn't even really give that moment proper consideration, but you're very right. Hans, do you have a untalked about moment for number one?
No. It's the Red Wedding.
Neither do I.
What was yours, Tony?
What was yours?
The Mountain and the Viper.
Oh, okay.
No.
It's too fucking good. Again,
It
it can't
is.
be the Red Wedding. Again, it probably should have been on the list. Great scene. I had Ned's death in as an honorable mention as well. That one was great. Danny's death in as an honorable mention as well. And John's death, or John's resurrection, only because, I mean, it was a great moment, but it was also not rushed in a way that I don't think, like, I think if I were to write a show, I would have to hold back all of my desire to just write it back to life in the first episode, in the first moments. Like,
Because there's 3 episodes, right?
2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2, but it may have been 3.
Yeah, that was good. I got some honorable mentions. You want me to just run them down quick?
Love it.
So I think some of them were said, but Night King at Hardhome, badass.
Yeah.
Jamie in Hot Tub with Brienne,
Yep.
badass. Talked about that. I'm trying to see if there's anything that wasn't mentioned. Ned getting his head cut off. Loot Train. Yeah, I think most of them were mentioned. Hold the door. Tyrion's speech at the Battle of the Blackwater, I really liked.
Oh, shit, yeah.
That was
good.
badass. And I
Those
think
are good people out there. Let's go kill them.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then, surprisingly, I don't think I have anything with Jon in it, which is, nothing.
Nothing.
The battle with the wildlings on the wall, the Watchers on the wall, that was another good moment. Like, I guess that's more of an episode, but
Yeah.
it had a lot of good moments in it.
I guess the only other thing I have, interestingly enough, again from season 8, episode 3, the more I think about it, more badass I think the episode is. I freaking love that scene when the dragons are up above the smoke or whatever,
yeah.
and you just see that's a sweet ass scene.
I liked the scene with
gorgeous.
Jon fighting the, like, half torn to pieces Viserion or whatever.
Yeah, I just don't get what he's doing. It's a cool scene, but I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
No, I'm surprised no one. No, I know Tony, you mentioned it in jest, but no Clegane Bowl.
No Clegane Bowl.
I didn't have it. I didn't have it on mine either. Just saying.
It was such a great moment. I think it was perfectly done. I just don't think I was emotionally invested in either of those characters enough. Like, it was one of the best parts of the episode, but the ramifications of it 5 minutes into the next episode were irrelevant.
Can I
Yeah.
just say that, like, with the with the Clegane Bowl, I think it would have been a more powerful fight if both contestants weren't already kind of doomed. Because we already saw the start of Daenerys's reign of fire. So the idea of both of them surviving just in that, like the idea of anyone surviving what she did was insane. But I think that took away from the gravity of the situation because there was no clear winner in it. I don't know. For me, that's how it was.
I think that's fair. You did have the whole thing, like the Hound said he was not planning on coming back.
Right.
I think he knew he was going to go die.
Right.
This wasn't about, I don't think this was about stopping anybody. This was about, very much in his head, this is his end, and he's going out doing this thing. And, I'm taking you with me or whatever.
Right.
But that's I hadn't considered that really. It's like the whole thing of Indiana Jones was irrelevant in the whole plot
whole plot of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
His movie.
Yeah. There's one thing that I wanted to mention from episode 5. When did the dragon fire become so explosive?
In season 8, episode 5.
Okay. I was like, why is fire making those bricks just explode from the walls? That was...
I don't know. It's very fast fire.
Yeah, it's very fast fire.
Good point. Hadn't considered it. Maybe Danny had Davos sneak in when he brought Jeremey in
and put
plant
a bunch of
tiny
explosives everywhere throughout King's Landing.
Yeah, it seems like it could have used that time a little bit better. He's apparently very good at it. Sneaking around. Now, again, you thought it was hard to pick best moments. If you have to just combine them and say, what is the best overall episode of Game of Thrones? Are you able to come up with an answer?
I think I'd take the easy answer. I think I say Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the easy answer too, because I thought real hard about this. And I was trying to find one that I liked more than the Battle of the Bastards, but I couldn't.
I also voted for Battle of the Bastards. It's just, there's not a bad moment in it.
Except for Rickon.
It's all great.
So,
except for Rickon. That's a great point. There is a bad moment in it.
I think so. That was mine as well. But what is your second best?
I didn't prepare a second best.
Yeah, I know. So for me, I was Hardhome. The Reign of Castamere was another one I really
that
liked.
whole episode was really good.
Blackwater was another one. Like I think these are ones that everyone kind of talks about on the internet, but I think the Battle of the Bastards is so good from beginning to end.
Yeah,
it's kind of difficult to disagree with that.
Yeah, I was saying.
But
I would say Watchers on the Wall was my second.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. As far as it's another episode to add to those.
Yeah,
that list of really.
And even the Battle for Winterfells is there as well.
Yeah, they do. Oh God, shit! They're all nuts, man.
Well,
it's so hard.
What about the worst?
So Jeremy said Battle for Winterfell, meaning the Long Night one, right?
Yeah. Yes, Long Night. Yeah.
So you think that makes it in the upper echelon of episodes?
I do. The longer, and again, I agree with you. I can't remember a show, an episode creating tension and anxiety the way that show did. Right? I mean, it just caused you to... I literally lived on the edge of my seat. I mean, maybe that's because I was trying to see the episode, but the other thing was the stress in that show was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
It's incredible.
I think, like you said too, I think the more I think about it, the more fondly I think of it. And I I don't know if it was just when the episode came out, kind of the culmination of how long we've waited for this. I was just pumped the whole episode.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just like, I remember thinking back, and the more, like, every time I think about that episode, I think about more of like how I was feeling and like just how excited I was. I don't even really think about I've attached it to some emotional context too, which is kind of cool. So there's some sentimental value there.
I want to add to the honorable mention moments real quick. Just because I don't think we had a single like a feel good moment. I mean, there's so few and far between in the show. Brienne getting knighted.
Great.
True.
Pretty great.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
Brienne getting knighted. And then just for a little bit more feel good for the fans, both the deaths of Joffrey and Ramsay.
For sure.
Very satisfying.
Yeah.
I'd say more so Ramsay, but both quite satisfying moments.
I really liked, and again, I know I'm probably because it's more recent is why I'm bringing it up. Maybe not in the context of all the moments in Game of Thrones history, but I really liked Brienne writing about Jaime in the book.
Oh, yeah.
That was good too.
Fuck. We should just watch the show again.
Thrones and Scones, season 2.
So now, can you pick a least favorite episode?
I was going through reading all of my notes, and I was like finding something redeeming about every single episode until I came and I landed on, and to be fair, there could be worse ones, but when I found this one, I stopped looking. Season 5, episode 4, The Sons of the Harpy. Let me run you guys through what happens in Season 5, Episode 4, The Sons of the Harpy. All of this beautiful internal conflict we had within Jaime, with regards to him freeing his brother and stuff. He's now kind of back with Cersei. He threatens to kill Tyrion if he ever sees him again. Cool. We get Mace Tyrell being a weird sitcom dad. Cersei makes the smartest decision she's ever made to arm the Faith Militant, starting the best storyline in the entire show.
Yep.
Melisandre kind of wants to fuck Jon for some reason that nobody understands.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't
Yeah.
though?
Stannis has a beautiful connective moment with his daughter. I'm sure things will get better from here. Littlefinger just drops Sansa off at the Boltons. And we get the Sand Snakes and Bronn and Jaime kind of fighting. And that's like the closest they're not even fighting. We get Jaime and Bronn fighting in the desert and then the Sand Snakes talking. Which is, it kind of starts to go back on a train of, an upward trend. And actually, the last moment is a cool moment. I just thought it was a bullshit decision. And that is killing off Barristan Selmy.
Oh, shit. That episode sucks.
Wait, does that episode have the Sand Snakes and Bronn in the cells?
Not in the cells.
No.
It's not.
Okay.
Not in the cells.
Okay, because if it did, shut the fuck up.
It's just the one where they're like out in a camp.
Okay,
and
yeah.
they got that guy
Yep,
buried and
I
they
got
just
it.
take his head off or
Yeah,
whatever.
I got you. We're good in that.
I forgot about Barristan Selmy.
I know. They did him so dirty.
I forgot about this episode.
Oh, that's
Because
a
I feel like
shit
it's
episode.
now my least favorite episode.
I think it's gonna be hard to compete with that. The episode I chose, which, to be honest, I didn't really do that much digging because I didn't have to. And for all that I know, maybe one of my favorite moments is in it. I can't remember. But it's the episode where Jaime rapes Cersei.
Yeah, it's mine.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, Breaker of Chains. That's the most fucked up part. Of
Jeremy,
the show.
do you have what season and what episode that is?
Yeah, here I took a picture of it on my notes. Season 4, episode 3.
Okay, so here's what happens besides the rape.
It's probably like a really good episode. Or something.
This is the one this is right after Joffrey dies.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So Sansa escapes. Tywin has that weird sex talk with Tommen. So yeah, we're off to a great start. Oh, this is the episode that reintroduces Jano Slint.
Sweet.
Sam makes one of the stupidest decisions in the show, thinking that Gilly would be safe in the town miles away with all the prostitutes, as wildlings are currently raiding the villages. Nice thought there. We kind of get the trial setting up for Tyrion. Tywin offers things up to Oberyn, and then I think that's it. I have a note that says it's really hard to see Ollie, but I don't know what that means. Maybe his point of view or something. I don't get it. And then this is the only redeeming moment about this is at the end where Dario fights that guy and then pees on him. Which is cool.
I think that
But
episode.
that's a pretty bad episode.
Yeah, I think that still holds up for me then.
Yeah.
Great choice. Rob?
I don't remember what it's called, but it's season 8, episode 4.
The Last of the Starks.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that was a tough one for me too. That episode has tons of shit wrong with it.
Starting with the Starbucks cup.
Starbucks cup. I don't know. It just had. That's the episode with Bronn doing the dumb shit.
Yeah, that's enough for me. Terrible episode.
Yeah.
It was the episode where they killed Missandei, which really was just to make Grey Worm into a kind of bad person or a vengeful person, I guess. Which and it showed the great accuracy of Euron Greyjoy killing a dragon. But then that was all lost in the next episode. Just the instant backstab of Jon when he tells Sansa and Arya the secret of his stuff, and that just was annoying. It just, I don't know. We did not like it.
We do get Brienne and Jaime fucking.
We do get that. Which
I didn't want.
Which I did, I didn't really care for because then Jaime then leaves.
Yeah. Now, looking back, yeah, absolutely. However, in our season 8 recap, all three of us said that episode 1 was worse than episode 4.
I like that. I remember you guys saying this, and I was like, ugh, I liked episode 1 much better.
Yeah, I think looking back, now when I'm reading episode 4, I don't really know. I think I liked it because it was where I could start to tell they're going evil Dany.
Right.
For sure. But yeah, and we finally had that good Arya and the Hound moment. But that's really it.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Good choice,
a shit
Rob.
episode.
Choices all around.
I envision a little bit of a kind of a mirroring of Rob pulling a Tony, when Arya kills the Night King and you just jump up for joy, screaming yeah at the screen. I feel like that was Rob when the dragon goes down and then it pans to Euron. That Euron shot the bolt. Still rooting for Euron on the throne.
I mean, he said he was king at the end, so I'm taking that as he's a king.
Just wearing all your Euron swag.
Yeah.
You technically didn't see him die, so.
Yeah. Got that shirt on. I'm Greyjoy for Greyjoy. Speaking of being Greyjoy for Greyjoy, if you guys had to pick the best good, bad, and juggly moments of this episode of this series, and as we established right before we started recording, just to be fair, we're gonna go ahead and split it up into male and female because otherwise it's not even a contest.
Super not a contest.
Male. Just to get it out of the way.
Hodor.
Are you also voting Hodor, Tony?
I am voting Hodor.
Is there another person you would vote for?
Well, I think it's great, but it's a prosthetic.
No, I don't think it was.
How do you
It
know?
was.
How do
Yeah.
maybe
There's a really funny interview with him talking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
they
I
had
get.
to
I mean, that's
maybe they had to
absolutely
shrink
my
it.
runner-up. I feel like our ball forward gentleman. It was just all natural,
It was so good, and it lingered for so long.
and
on
it was
screen.
it was a little surprising. It just kind of caught you by surprise. It was very zoomed in.
It was bouncing very nicely. there was a lot to love. I did write it down as honorable mention.
Yeah.
Ball forward. Not the guy with the wart on his dick.
I mean,
Talk about a close up.
yeah. It's not bad. It's a runner-up.
No,
Sure.
Do we see any other dicks?
The hounds.
the hound.
That was kind of a random
Oh,
one too.
Laura
Theon.
Laura Sampray
right?
too, or not Laura Sampray. Loris Tyrell.
Do you see Loris's dick?
I thought you did.
I thought we get a shaft, like a bush shot for him.
You might.
You might, yeah.
But we get
Jeremy's right. You do get Theon.
we get him stas post fuck immediately flaccid.
Immediately flaccid. Aren't they all?
He's like and done.
There's actually there's a lot of dicks because then we also get that guy who is just the one naked guy for a couple seasons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel like you never get a full shot though of that dude.
You do in the scene when I think Tywin comes in to talk to Oberyn and they're like having an orgy.
Oh.
And they're just all kind of like standing there.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, our insert naked dude here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You get the guys who are taunting Cersei on her walk.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Those are
I'm a
pretty
Lannister,
funny.
suck me off. You get the blurred penis of the Marine warrior who's pissing at Dario before Dario kills him and pisses onto him. And I think that's it. But I could
That's
be
an
wrong.
impressive memory, Tony.
Thank you very much. Ironically, I can't remember any female nudity in the show. But if I had to rack my brain and pick one, what is the best female, good, bad, and juggly moment?
Ooh, I got some good ones.
I'm sure that you
I
do.
will let you guys choose at what moment this is my favorite. But Melisandre at the
Oh,
at Castle Black.
I see. Pre or post amulet? It's up to us?
Yeah.
I understand.
I think I gotta go with.
Hot.
Yeah, that's excellent. scene.
Super hot, by the way.
I think I gotta go with Daenerys coming out of the fire.
It's iconic.
It's a great scene, yeah.
Khaleesi, I'll never forget that day as long as I live. That's the day your clothes burned off.
No wonder I love you.
Wait, you're talking about the first time, right?
Yeah.
Because it happens so often. So
Yeah, I mean they're all good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That sand snake chick in
Oh,
the
yeah.
jail. Let's just be honest.
Jeremy's correct.
It is uncomfortably amazing.
It's a good one, yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
am
good.
I got to the point after a few seasons where I was like, I won't say comfortable, but I accepted the fact that nudity and sexual situations were happening while I was watching the show with my parents.
Yeah.
I am so glad I did not live at home when that episode
Yeah.
came out
That.
because it was uncomfortably hot.
Oh my god. You watch it again, and she's just like touching herself. I'm like, well, this is super good. Let's rewind that. Yep. Yeah.
You want the good girl,
That
but you
and
need
then
the bad pussy.
the demon baby part. Come on. I mean, like, how haven't we talked about that?
How could we forget?
I mean, we wrote a song, for Christ's sake.
It's true. Rob, can you sing it for us?
Demon baby, demon baby. Wasn't that
Nailed
it?
it.
Close, it's close.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Do you know the verse?
No.
Neither do we.
Poser. Whew. Okay. I only have one more question. And then we can, of course, if any have come up to you guys, feel free. Shout them out. but I will go ahead and just say, this was maybe the hardest thing for me to come up with, and I'm still not sure I'm in love with my answer. Could you name a series MVP? And not from an actual, point of statistics, but like your favorite character after everything.
I have both. Can I do?
Doesn't actually have to be the most valuable character.
Can I do both? Because I have both.
Sure.
Because I wasn't sure which one you actually wanted, if it was like favorite character throughout the whole thing or the person that actually affected the most shit.
Can I guess I want to try and guess the person who actually affected the most shit. Oh.
Cersei.
I mean, I answered this in the first episode that I was on, and it's Robert Baratheon. Robert Baratheon.
Why?
The whole show wouldn't have happened if Robert Baratheon didn't fall in love with...
Well, sure it would have. Just would have happened differently.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also maybe not. So fair. Okay.
But that wasn't actually who I wrote down. I did write down Cersei Lannister.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that.
A good
answer.
choice.
I like that answer until season 8.
Cersei Lannister was the only person that throughout all of the seasons, even when she was in jail, I was like, she's not dying. She's the only person I ever felt like that wasn't dying, and she had her hand in everything that had happened to all of the main characters, pretty much.
Yeah. It's a good point. She was a great, there was always kind of a more, audacious villain that people were talking about, but she was always there, and she was always fantastic.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Who did you vote for your favorite?
That will be Jon Snow.
I shit my pants.
Almost muted my mic for a moment.
Yeah, I know you guys were expecting Euron, but no, Jon Snow has been my boy since probably episode 1, and I've always rooted for him to be the one who goes. And I think that his ending, when I was saying ambivalent about the ending, I'm happy for his ending because it basically gave him what he wanted, except he lost all the other shit along the way. But
right. All the stuff that would make him happy.
Yeah.
I love Arya's story. I like Bran's story a lot too, if I'm honest. And Tyrion is great. And you're right, Cersei's a great character throughout. And I very nearly handed this trophy to Jamie.
Yep.
But I had to say Jon Snow. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I have pretty much almost the exact thing the same thing to say. I kind of like ranked them out on how I was going to choose, and it basically was like I had to pick Jon based on, if you're looking at the show as a whole, he's just kind of the golden boy, right? I mean, he doesn't really do anything that wrong.
Jon?
And it's just like...
Okay, right. I'm going to totally disagree with you, because Jon
I know.
makes
we know.
every fucking mistake in the world in this show.
I think that Jon has, throughout the show, even though he has made mistakes, his intentions throughout it have always been to make the world a better place.
Yeah, that's what I mean more than anything. Everyone else does something shitty, like mean evil or mean-spirited at some point.
Self-centered.
Or selfish or something.
I don't think Tyrion really does anything evil, but
He doesn't.
I got to give it out to Jon. But then I agree. I think Tyrion's is close up there. Tyrion's great. Arya was like, I was kind of flipping back and forth between Jon and Arya. But yeah, with Tony said, I almost picked Jamie if it wasn't for like 2 scenes. Probably 1 scene, and I would have almost probably would have edged out Jon. But
I think 1 scene prevented me from really seriously considering Tyrion, and that was fucking Shay. Not fucking Shay, but killing Shay.
yeah.
Really?
Still don't understand that scene at all.
Yeah, that was weird too. Yeah, it's just I didn't get it. Obviously, Tormund, honorable mention.
Ooh, Tormund. God, they really made him a meme in the last season. I'm not mad about it.
You think if Bronn
I
wouldn't
don't
have changed this season, you think Bronn would have at least been a contender or honorable mention?
I don't think he would have been my favorite.
I think his character had so much more potential, and they fucked it up.
Yeah,
I liked him a lot.
Bronn for me always kind of felt like a B story. That's why But
it was a great B story.
It was a great B story, but it always felt like I feel like they did drop the ball on Bran quite a bit because they started
which
out
one? Bran or Bronn?
Bran Stark.
Okay.
I felt like they dropped the ball a bit because they started out so strong with Bran, with him falling out of the window right away, and I don't know if it was to do with maybe like because they needed him to grow up a little bit more, because they did take that whole season off where you didn't see him once.
It's true.
And I felt like that because of that made him rush kind of a little bit more of becoming who he was. I mean, it still was never really quite explained what the three-eyed raven is. I'm sure it goes into more detail in the books, but as someone who's never read the books, I don't know what the three-eyed raven is.
Yeah, they I like Bran. I like Bran's story a lot, but Bran was early on one of my favorite characters. It was his game to lose, and he lost it as far as being my favorite character. Yeah. So I mean, it does say something that I like where his story went, but at times it was just hard to like.
Right.
Like you're just like, this is, even when it was good, it's just kind of boring. Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you, everybody. Jeremy, I'm not going to ask. I know your answers.
Yeah, you should. Because let me tell you a little story about Game of Thrones. So, Game of Thrones, also after season 8, the story of the Starks, actually is probably better referred to as the story of the great family of the Lannisters, because that's what it was. The 3 MVPs in this show are Cersei, Jaime, and Tyrion. Just let's call it.
The three MVPs?
Yeah, they are. You can make an argument for Cersei, and I agree with you. I mean, I think she is fantastic throughout this entire show. Jaime's arc is one of the best. It gets a little weird in a couple places, and the only reason I would agree, I don't think you can't vote for him. But Tyrion is the storyteller of this show. Are you kidding me? He has to be the MVP. He's the one that drags us through all of the shit and makes us care.
He's great.
But I feel like Tyrion is there because he is the storyteller. I feel like the Game of Thrones is happening to him, and he's not actually playing it in a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I mean, but he plays roles in all of it, right? Jon, at periods in this show, is really just kind of going through his life, right? Yeah. Yes, he is loved and does some amazing things, but he also makes a lot of dumb decisions that in any other character would have led to them dying permanently. I mean, and his brother, Rob, I think initially was much more likable, right? I think I liked Rob Stark way more until Rob was making stupid decisions than Jon.
Oh, for sure. I did not like Jon's. I liked Rob Stark up until he started to make dumb decisions and push people away and start yelling at people and shit like that. But
yeah, exactly. But Jon does things in the show.
But Jon never did that. Jon was always kind to people, even when they were dicks to him.
Jon had flaws, but Jon wasn't flawed.
No,
I think that he is. I think Rob made a good point about Jon, but I think that the case here. I'm just giving you shit. It can absolutely be made for Tyrion.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. I
will not call the show the story of the Lannisters. But
yeah, but I mean, their family is I think the most interesting in this show, because they're the ones that played for power and got it. Right? They played the game arguably better than everyone else. And if it wasn't for dragons, they probably would have won.
Fair. I mean, they were also kind of mostly the death of each other, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's the game, right? I mean, everyone shows, you're constantly going to kill each other for power, and they just did it. But they had no qualms about that, and they had no qualms about just creating more children with each other as well. So, anyway, Tyrion. Come on, it was great.
Now, I just thought of a new question. Actually, hopefully it won't be too hard because the list isn't that long of like real top tier players. Could you name and I don't even know what we'd call them. Like we call them an off-season MVP, a character that was in the show for half of the show or less.
Half of the show or less.
Yeah, so no more than 3.5 seasons.
Ooh.
Yeah, I pick Rob Stark.
Rob Stark, great choice.
Ooh.
Great choice.
Roose Bolton.
Roose Bolton?
Yeah.
Fuck, I forgot.
fuck?
Oh, the Euron Greyjoy thing totally washed my mind of the fact that you liked Roose Bolton.
Dear Lord.
I'm
Probably
gonna,
one of the most unlikable characters in the show.
I thought it was just...
Although when I was going back through my notes earlier trying to find the worst episode, I don't even remember what episode it was in, but there was a note somewhere that said, "Do you kind of like Roose Bolton in this episode?" So he must have had a redeeming quality somewhere.
I think the things that I liked about Roose Bolton are pretty superficial. Just because, like, when I liked his voice when he talked. It was very very soothing. I was like, I want him to read me a story.
Plus, he was hot.
Yeah, he was a silver fox. And I don't know. Like, I think that I honestly think that the things that he did to the Stark family were wrong, but the other things about him didn't seem too like it was out for his family's survival and to move up in the world. I get the decisions that he made, and I think that Ramsay was the one that really took it off the deep end for the Boltons. But as far as Roose was concerned, like, yeah, he did abandon Rob at the Red Wedding and stuff like that, but like a lot of the North were leaving during the Red Wedding. Like, they had just got, like, one of the biggest families just, like, took their forces home, didn't they? Well, I forget the name of the family.
The Karstarks.
Yeah. And I think that Roose was just he was like, oh, this isn't going anywhere now. He was seeing where it was going to go at the end. Maybe part of me thinks that he maybe didn't want the Red Wedding to happen, but he was fine with it happening. He didn't do anything to stop it.
You let these millennials have opinions, and look what they do with them.
Jeremy, you can pretty much say anything now.
I know, exactly. I mean, I don't even know what the fuck is this. I'm gonna go a little more controversial, but not crazy. Egret, actually, I think.
Ooh. Egret's a good one.
I think that's some really important progression for Jon to understand love, to understand what it means to lose something that he really. I mean, I don't think he got how much he cared for her.
Is it Hans who doesn't like Egret?
Yeah, I've never really been a big fan. I don't know why.
Okay, I couldn't recall. I'm going to give it to, only because I think it's the one instance of a character being better in the show than they were in the book, and that is Oberyn.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't give a shit about Oberyn in the books, and he came into my life for one season, and he was a fucking badass. And he was great.
What about Jaqen?
Jaqen might be in more than half the show.
Yeah, he was in every season except for the first, wasn't he?
No, because he wasn't in the last. I mean, technically he's alive, but no, he might only be in half the show. Jaqen's fine. I liked Jaqen Hagar. The
Me
no
too.
one stuff is hit and miss for me.
Yeah.
Me too. The early Jack and stuff was really good.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Tyrion as well. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Tyrion. We haven't thought of Tyrion yet,
Yeah.
actually. Tyrion technically is only in half the show because he's only half as tall as...
How
half man.
you feeling about that one, Tony?
Well, I'm okay because he makes the joke all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fair.
he's so good. He's so good.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I have another quick category here, and this was actually, I wrote it down earlier, but I forgot about it. This was brought on by what Jeremey, I think, said about the Red Wedding, about it being very hard to watch. There are a lot of these moments in the show that are great and that you kind of hate to love because they're painful or they're super intense or really awkward or uncomfortable in one way or the other. What's your favorite hard moment to watch?
Whew.
We've already had kind of what sparked at the Red Wedding. And then as you're thinking, I will just go ahead and say that this is kind of a biased question because I already know the best answer, and it's Shireen being burned alive.
Yeah.
That one's rough.
The corkscrew and the nail for Theon or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That one was
That
one was rough for me. That was just on a squeamish thing. Like, yes, watching a little girl burn had a lot more emotional things for it, but oh god, watching that scene where with the torture was
Actually, from a squeamish perspective, the second I knew, as if there was any doubt, that I would never want to live in Westeros because I'm a little bitch, that scene where Loras kind of just a little bit stabs Renly and he bleeds and he's like, Renly's like, ugh, and he's like, look at it if you're going to be king. And I was sitting on the couch going, ugh, like not wanting to watch it.
Yeah, I think Shireen would have to be my pick. But I think the Red Wedding, even the Mountain Viper scene, like all those are some of my favorite scenes, but they're hard to watch, to be honest.
Yeah. Jamie raping Cersei.
that
that
one
one.
as well.
It all comes
It's not
back.
hard to watch. I just hate watching that for every aspect of it. Provides no story, no plot value either.
Yeah. That scene, both scenes, I guess, where Sansa is almost and then where Sansa is actually raped.
Raped, yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Those are
We don't-
very rough.
So that one's tough, but they kind of almost do the like not watching for us with the actual event, right? Because we really just look at Theon.
Yeah.
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 I
Agreed.
think Shireen is outside the Red Wedding is the most fucked up kind of thing.
So dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was messed up.
Muy darko.
So I have a interesting little addition here.
Add me.
So I was asking Jenna what her favorite season was.
J-Girl?
Yeah.
What up,
Anyone
Jay?
anyone want to take a guess at what her favorite season was?
If it was season 8, that's why she's not on the podcast.
Jenna's favorite season was probably whatever season had the most dogs in it. So season 1.
Rob, want to take a shot at it?
I'm gonna say season 3.
Season 3. Okay. This was Jenna's exact answer. Her favorite her favorite season was season 8
Oh, wow.
because it had no spoilers. Because she listens to our podcast. Her least favorite seasons were, I quote, the early seasons because she wasn't into the show at that time when I was watching it.
Fair enough.
And her response to the rest of it was, I can't remember the middle ones. Which is fair.
Yeah, very fair. She breaks the mold then. Everybody else voted for season 6 as being the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She break that mold.
There you go.
Fine. Well, guys, we're running as long as we have ever wrong. As what?
We're wrong as a wrong.
Winning and not love is blood of the And but before we hop off, is there anything else that you want to tackle here at this last moment we have on top of the pedestal where people are listening?
I'm really disappointed that I didn't get to laugh at Jeremy for the no arms John thing. I was really hoping that would be brought up in this episode, but you brought it up last episode.
You know what? Fuck you both. Fuck that episode. I get why it had to happen, but Jesus Christ, it was per the quote. It'll be brief. It'll be super brief. We're just just hang out for 25 minutes, something like that. I'm never gonna live it down now. Cool.
We did say we'll just hang out for 25 minutes.
Yeah, but Jeremy, just imagine if he would have lost his arms.
Yeah.
I know
How good it would have.
He lost his
God,
arms.
you would have been God tier.
God.
Yeah.
I was already God tier. I already won, bitches.
You'd have been like, you'd have been
did
internet.
win.
You'd have been internet famous for
Yeah.
predicting something like that. The only one to predict the true ending of Game of Thrones.
Jeremy from the Thrones and
when they went to
Scones
Kid
podcast.
about it. So
He predicts
how
it.
did-
His
how did you
co-hosts
feel
laugh.
losing your arms?
Tony's
I think
a
we
pretty,
just act like it happened.
Tony's a pretty fast reader, so he's probably gonna get through the end of the Game of Thrones books just a hair before Jeremy. He's gonna get to the last page, and Tony's just gonna go,
Fuck.
"Holy shit,
John lost his arms.
he was right.
He
He now has dragon bones.
He was
Jeremy
right."
will be on the last page and he'll just get a call. Tony's dead.
Maybe that means that Martin is listening to the podcast and is like, "Ooh, I like that idea of John
Smart.
losing his arms."
Yeah, you guys didn't respond to my whole Martin thing today about the game.
No, because here's what your text said, Jeremy.
Yeah, this
I
makes
know.
no sense,
Dude, I read it. I was fucking driving while texting it. So yeah, you're welcome.
That makes it better.
No.
Here's what this text said. Can I read it?
Yeah,
Of course.
Okay. See our boy making Elden Scrolls with From Software. Martin just finished the books. I don't know what that means still.
He's working on Elder Scrolls 6 or 7.
No.
No.
He's working on a game called, I think, Elden Ring or something. Elden.
Yeah. It's Elden something.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I appreciate that more than these goddamn like graphic novels and stuff.
He's doing
Yeah, it
a
was-
space
But yeah,
TV show too, isn't he?
I don't know. Could be.
I thought he was doing like a space TV show.
Well, Rob, thank you much for joining us.
No problem. I'm glad to be here for the. Is this the final episode?
It hasn't been exclusively discussed, but I don't know what we got after this.
Okay.
So,
Well, we
It'll
got
be
these
my
memories.
final
So
episode.
we're gonna make them.
we're gonna make what?
We're gonna make memories after this. We're gonna just keep going.
Are we?
Breakfast podcast. It's coming.
Tentatively, maybe. As far as Game of Thrones, I got nothing left.
It'll just be the.
As far as the show goes, I think we've exhausted our stuff there. As far as scones, I got none left. I've eaten them all.
The Scones and Scones podcast.
So just in case, we'll of course keep you updated on social medias or anything like that. Rob, you can always find at And Rob's Your Uncle, ARYUcast.com. Is that right?
That one's actually dead now.
It's dead now. Dead in the water.
We had a free.
Don't
We
go
had
there.
a free trial, and we were just like, nah, no one used it as much. We're not gonna. We're not gonna up the website again. But you can just get just AirYUcast at gmail.com if you want to get a hold of us, or just and Rob's Your Uncle on iTunes and any other podcast platform.
Yeah, it's 2019. Search And Rob's Your Uncle on your podcast thing. It'll show up. You subscribe to it, and then you're
Yeah.
good. Rob, I just want to say, just because I'm sure we've dropped everybody at this point, in every episode you talk about how nobody is listening at this point. I don't know how other people listen to podcasts, but I don't stop listening to the podcast until it ends and my phone deletes it from its memory. So I'm always there for you, buddy.
Yeah. Why? I think that's a joke that we do.
Oh, I'm judging you the whole time and rolling my eyes, but I am there. So thank you very much to Rob. Thank you to all of the guests that we have had, all of our listeners that we have had. Thank you so much to Stephen Sommers for creating our lovely artwork. You can find him on Tumblr and Twitter at the Dreadlock Detective. Dude's very talented if you want to check him out and create some fun things as well. I'm sure he would be down to clown with that. But y'all, it's been some fun times.
Shit.
It has
Shit. It's got real.
it has been very fun.
I can't believe it's been so many damn episodes.
I think this is I think this is 86,
It's nuts.
which is a lot. In what?
Yeah.
5 months?
I can't believe we actually pulled this
Yeah.
off. That's what's
There-
crazy.
What's crazy too is there are just so many far more successful and better podcasts with fewer episodes. just listen to those people.
Truthfully. Yeah. Truthfully.
That was fun.
Yeah. I was listening to Rob's year anniversary podcast, and it was like 20 or 30 episodes behind where we were at, and I was like, what happened? Ooh. But no, I think we've I'm getting really tired, y'all. It's I have to go to work now.
You haven't had your morning coffee yet. Yeah.
Me too.
Right, that's the one. So we'll go ahead and call it there, but we'll keep you up to date on whatever the fuck is next. But just in case, you're down with GOT.
Yeah,
you know me. Oh shit. That's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
At 2 hours and 11 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck. It's perfect.
We should have prepared something a little bit more final.
I honestly kind of forgot this was the last one.
I mean,
This
I'm
is
not
not
opposed
going
to
to be.
doing another one, but what the fuck do we do?
I don't know.
We gotta
We
make
could re-
something.
We could review. I mean, it's kind of anticlimactic, I suppose, but we
can
could
review our
the.
reviews.
No, we could review the documentary.
What about this? Bones and Scones. Watch all of the episodes of the TV show Bones.
Oh, yes.
Man, that doc
fucking
is genius.
Emily Deschanel is my bitch.
That's Pushing Daisies.
What?
Zoe Deschanel?
Zoe Deschanel's sister, Emily, is Bones.
Oh, is it? I thought you
Yeah.
were talking about Zoe Deschanel doing her show Pushing Daisies that lasted for 7 episodes.
Great show. We could do 86 more episodes going through and listening to and reviewing our previous.
Can you
86
imagine how fucked up that would be?
and just do that on a loop for the rest of
The
forever.
Thrones and Scones and Scones podcast.
Man. Jeremy, you were so fucking high this episode.
Oh man, we should have got Jeremy high for this one.
Fuck. That was.
Do you guys have a favorite episode that we did?
Hi Jeremy.
Oh,
It might be Hi Jeremy.
that was a pretty good one.
That was I mean, I don't even remember it. That's how good it was.
The first one that Rob was on was very good.
Yeah, that was
As
good.
well.
Yeah,
That
then
was
they
good.
went downhill from there. That's my bad. I'm
Way
sorry,
downhill.
guys.
There's been plenty of episodes where I know for a fact I just started dying laughing. So, any of those were good. There were some good times.
Yeah, there were some pretty ones where, I think I was crying. A couple of them. It was so funny.
I think honestly the only time I've ever been reduced to laughing tears is the John lost his arms thing.
There you go.
Yeah, that was.
It was so quick.
Felt right. Felt good.
It was good. It was great.
It's coming. Martin, you owe me.
I can't remember what episode it was. There was an episode where what the heck did we say? Jenna was telling me about it too the other day. Where we were talking about something, and then it was just like 2 minutes of just straight laughter. Like we just couldn't say anything because we were all laughing so hard.
It was early. It was early into it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I remember that because I just remember like choking. I was laughing.
I
so
think
hard.
I think it was the episode where Hans with Hodor and Hans saying that he had to go back and rewind it. I remember that getting quite a big laugh.
Oh, maybe.
That may be it,
I
actually.
can't remember.
Because I think it started with like, well, did you pause it and take a look? And Hans went like, well, no, because I went back twice.
multiple times.
Oh, fuck. The simpler days.
I know.
Hoder's penis.